Hello guys, welcome back to another day on the 12 days of Christmas here with Movie Dreams. Last but one, now we've got this one and then one more, of course, to actually do and complete, of course. And today we are completing and looking at How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yes, The Grinch, is one of the most iconic Christmas movies ever made. It was on Netflix here in the UK, but also out obviously on Blu-rays, 4Ks and all of that. It is directed by Ron Howard, who, if you look at his filmography on Letterboxd, you got The Da Vinci Code, Rush, Apollo 13, Inferno, Willow, Solo, A Star Wars Story, Angels and Demons, Inferno, In the Heart of the Sea. Big actors, everything all about him. He is really, really good in some of the films that he has made as a director. And of course, The Grinch being one of the best films he has ever made. Very much from that era in the year 2000, from Jurassic Park, all of the classic movies that we know and love. This era it just hones in on that 90s era, even though it is a 2000 movie, of course. But it just has a lot of nostalgia from a 90s point of view. Now, I have watched and reviewed this movie on the channel, and this is really a revisiting in a way because I have seen this, of course, before. But The Grinch is fantastic, in my opinion. Really, really enjoyed the story to this movie. I think enjoyment was probably one of my most enjoyable movies that I've watched over the last 12 days, actually, of doing these videos. I had real fun with it. I think Jim Carrey really does just get into that role of the Grinch and, elevates his performance fantastically. I've even seen some reviews on here and people saying that, Jim Carrey at the time in the year 2000 anyway, he should have won the Oscar for Best Actor for his performance because he was that good in the role. And I agree with that. He does, embody the role entirely. I don't know if he was even nominated for it, but, he definitely should have won some sort of award for this role because it is arguably the best Jim Carrey role out there. And that being said, he has been asked recently, this year actually, about actually doing, the Grinch again, and would he do it? And he said, yeah, nowadays with mocap and stuff like that, he'd do it, but he wouldn't do the whole suit thing again, which is understandable because when you watch the movie, the suit is full-on latex around the face, full-on hair, full-on suit. He loses himself entirely in that character, and of course he should because he's playing the Grinch. He's not a human, of course. So he is really, really playing something, a bit out there. So that's the things I did like about the film. I thought it was an enjoyable experience and all of that, and the makeup and everything was great. Costume-wise, was also fine, but some of the things I didn't like about this film, and it's quite a few, but the colour grading was really awful from a Netflix point of view. I'm not sure if it was Netflix or if maybe I need to readdress this and look at it on the actual, on the Blu-ray. But and I remember saying this in my review, I think, when the first time I watched it. If I didn't, I remember thinking this, but it's really, really muted colour-wise. It's really dull and really, even when things are joyful, it's still very dull. And I understand maybe the dull aspect needs to happen because, the Grinch is the Grinch and almost like putting a cloud over Christmas. So Whoville needs to be a bit dull at times. I get that from a storytelling point of view and a mood setting point of view, etc., etc. But it doesn't need to be dull all the time. The reds are really dull, the yellows are dull, the greens are dull, everything is just dull. And I find that it was a creative decision to do that, but I find it very off-putting in the film. One thing I did think about this film as well is a lot of this film is actually, the Grinch talking to himself. It's Jim Carrey talking to himself, and that was a bit off-putting as well. At times, of course, Jim Carrey does elevate and go into the particular role really, really well. But, it's just one of them where it's just a bit we want a bit more. I think, for me in the film anyway, the Grinch's interactions with the Who's is the best part of the film. So when he's on his own, I find those things to be a bit off-putting and a bit jarring. But, as I say, it is all small things in this grand picture of things. A lot of people think that, this film is one of their favourite Christmas films ever made. A lot of people, it's always on my Instagram stories and stuff like that of people watching it, probably more than any other Christmas film. I don't put it in that category. It's not a classic for me. Growing up, I didn't watch The Grinch all the time. I appreciate it. I like The Grinch. It's okay. It's a decent movie and it scores very, very close to all of my other reviews that I've done over the last 12 days. But it's not a fantastic Christmas film in my opinion. There's a lot of good messaging in there in terms of, this baby getting born and then, being bullied and then ultimately hating Christmas because, the gift and all that. It was really, really nice to see all of those moments. But for me, The Grinch is nowhere near that classic element that people bang on about. But one thing that did happen last time when I did a review of this on the channel, I actually rated it a 3-star. This time I rated it a 3.5 star because I thought it was a much better, I think the performance of Jim Carrey alone is worth all of those stars, to be honest, and the suit and the sets and, know, they had to make a lot of things back in the year 2000, of course, that were actually on camera. And there was a lot of really, really good things in there. But I think where The Grinch kind of falls a bit short for me is the overall look and feel of the movie. It has that like Tim Burton, that, you know, Beetlejuice kind of vibes to it. And it doesn't, like, for the same reasons I didn't watch Beetlejuice this year and also watched Beetlejuice previously, is I didn't really like it. So I didn't want to make a video talking about it. So ultimately it's that kind of thing. It's got those vibes to it that don't really interest me. I guess things like Wednesday, things like, you know, all these TV shows now that are coming out, they have these vibes and these, like, I guess, gothic themes, and they don't really, you know, appeal to me. And I think this is what I find in terms of the problem with The Grinch for me, is that. But of course, the movie itself is really good. The ultimate end is really hopeful and really nice and really, you know, encompasses really nice moments in there. And I did really much enjoy actually watching the film. As I say, it's one of my most enjoyed movies of this last 12 days. And speaking of, now that is the end of today's video. We have one more day left. Day 11 is now done. One more day. Tomorrow, of course, is Christmas Eve. So thanks so much for watching so far, and stay tuned for tomorrow's 12 Days of Christmas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.